So it's been a while since we talked about common scams in the game. It is worth mentioning and bringing up in another video every now and again because of the way YouTube works. Of course, the video that I made about a year and a couple of months ago is still there for people to find, but because it's not being pushed and recommended, it's not fresh in people's minds, it is worth covering again. So in this video, what I'm going to do is go over some scams that are going around at the moment that I know about because people have brought to my attention in the last month. People have come to me and said, this has happened, and so I'm going to cover them in this video so it doesn't happen to you, and it makes the scammers' lives just a little bit harder. So yeah, screw you guys. Anyway, with that being said, let's go. The first scam we're going to talk about revolves around the Grand Exchange. Now, this doesn't have to just be the main Grand Exchange. It can be anywhere at all that you can access this, so the Max Guild or Prif as well. So you need to keep an eye out for this no matter where you are. Now, it isn't uncommon in-game for someone to come along and say, hey, can someone please help me out with the Grand Exchange buy limit on this specific item? Now, this could be because there is a silly limit on an item for something that you need a lot of to do some sort of skilling or crafting or anything to level up your account, like anything at all. Or maybe someone's just collecting some random little item. Now, this is something that people help with a lot. Like, quite often someone will say, yep, no problem, I'll buy that for you and I'll get it for you. Now, it's worth mentioning that I'm not about to tell you guys to no longer help other people with buy limits. All I want you to do is just make sure you guys are aware that there is a scam within this sort of thing, and so you can be aware for it and you can look out for it and you can make a better decision on whether it is a good idea to help someone or not. Now, the reason I say this is because it is quite common for someone to come along and ask for a very unique or uncommon item. For example's sake, in this video I will just say something like a 2-dose potion of some variant. It doesn't matter which one, and I don't want to give out an item that this would possibly work with anyway, but along the lines of something that is just a very specific item that you wouldn't normally trade itself. So a certain dose of a potion is a pretty good example. So what they will have done is they would have found an item on the market that is very low volume, and they will have bought out the entire stock. This then allows that player to put those items back on the Grand Exchange at a stupidly high price. So they could maybe buy something at 500 GP each, buy the entire market out, and then end up throwing them back on the Grand Exchange and leaving them in there at a price that nobody's going to pay at around about 50,000 each or something like that. So an absolutely huge markup with this item. However, if the limit is really high on these items, then obviously they can figure out a way to have them sold. They can make an absolute fortune, and that is where the idea of asking someone to help buy the limit comes in. What they will do is they'll either keep a few of them on themselves, or they will give you some money to go ahead and buy a couple of them and then say, once you've done that, obviously I will pay you for the whole lot. So they will go to the Grand Exchange, they will find someone who is willing to help them with the buy limit of this exact item, and then even if that person is a little bit skeptical, they will use the fact that they can give them a couple of the items and say, well, go and sell one of these if you want, and see that they actually go for that, or buy one with this money here and see that they actually exactly what they are, and then they'll use that to convince you to buy out an entire stack. Or they'll try something along the lines of, oh, we'll buy 500 to make sure that's the actual price first, and then we can go ahead and we can trade the rest of them afterwards, right? And that way you know I'll pay you for it. So once they've convinced you to go ahead and buy out all these items, what's going to happen is you're going to go to the Grand Exchange, you're going to offer in your big pile of cash to buy these out for this person. Maybe you'll do the entire limit, which could be, God knows, thousands of the items for all we know. You buy them all up, and of course what's going to happen is your money goes directly to their Grand Exchange sale, and so they get your money. And then you just never hear from them ever again. They disappear, that's it, it's done. They hop worlds and they go looking for the next person to help fill their offer. Now, of course, the problem with this is you've gone to the Grand Exchange and willingly bought those items, so there's no reason for them to be able to return it to you whatsoever. Once they've hopped, it's done, that's it. You're stuck with the items that you'll never be able to sell for that price again, and they've got your money in their Grand Exchange. It is done through the GE and not through a trade, so you don't even get the chance to recover the GP for those items because they're nowhere near worth the price you've just been made to pay for them. So one way you could avoid this is to either just not help people with buy limits, or just be very cautious with what people are asking you to buy. If they're asking you to buy some item that just doesn't make sense, and especially if they're asking you to buy an item that doesn't have a really small buy limit in the first place, like if they're asking you to buy something that has a 10,000 buy limit, then you kind of questioning already, like, what's the problem? 10,000? What do you need all these for? Unless it was something obviously like feathers, where people get a lot of these together anyway, and the price doesn't cost that much to buy the limit out in the first place. If you are going to be spending hundreds of millions of GP to help someone with a buy limit, you need to make sure that you are being incredibly careful with your money. Because of course, while with certain items, if you buy something for someone and then they do not take it and you end up having to sell it back, you may only lose a small amount of money because you can sell it back for a similar price. With these items, you won't be able to because they've inflated the price so damn high. So do just be cautious with what people are asking you to actually buy for them, and then how many you're actually wanting to buy for them as well, and then also how much money they're actually asking you to spend on it as well. There's no problem with helping people out on buy limits, just make sure that you're not being scammed before you actually do it. Okay, so the other scam that I wanted to talk about in this video, because it was also something that was brought to me recently too, and in fact, no, this one happens just all of the time. It's not even just someone's brought to me recently, it happens all of the time. And it is something that Jagex are looking at fixing, thank absolute God, because it needs to be done, and hopefully sooner rather than later, and that is the shards scam when you're trading in World 2 for an item over max cash. It is so often that I hear someone in my clan or on Discord or anywhere, they come into my YouTube chat while I'm streaming and they'll say, man, I just went and sold this item that was worth 6 billion GP and I got scammed. I only got 2 bill for it, man. I only got 2 bill. What the hell? What the frick? They did something with the money. And basically what's happened is the people who you've been trading are just stood there all day hoping that someone will come along and make a mistake in the trade window and not pay full attention. And instead of putting in the correct value of shards or GP, rather than putting in million, so the green M, million, for the shards or for the coins, they've put in a K and just hope that you just don't notice. And a lot of people do this. They really do. And it's happening a lot because it happens a lot. And because you've accepted a trade willingly, there's not really anything you can do about it. So let's give an example. You want to go and sell your Bow of the Last Guardian for 5 billion GP. The person who is buying it from you wants to pay in max cash, and they also want to just do the rest in shards. So there'll be 3 billion GP in shards, and there'll be like 2.147 mil in coins, right? Now what they'll do is they will put their coins and their shards into the trade, probably either very quickly, or they'll put shards in first, then the coins in afterwards. And rather than putting 2147 mil, they'll put 2147k, which is obviously way less than what it needs to be. But a lot of people won't check this properly, or they'll just miss it, or they'll be like stressed or the anxiety of getting such a big trade right, and they'll actually overlook it and they'll miss that. People will be checking the shards more than the coins because you see coins all day, every day. You're not going to mess that one up, right? Everyone's sat there with the calculator working out the amount of shards that it needs to be, and then they don't realize that they're only getting actually 2.1 mil in GP rather than 2.1 bill in GP. They may also try other things as well, like putting the correct value in, getting you right towards the end of the last trade, and then declining and saying, oh crap, sorry, click the wrong button, let's trade again real quick. And then because you already confirmed the amounts, you're more willing to then just press accept. Now personally, if this happened to me, I would probably be 100 times more skeptical, and I'd probably go find somebody else to sell it to. But there's many different things that they may try on just to get you to actually miss the price change there. They could change it in window, but it gives you the notification. I do believe there's ways to do that without seeing the notification, possibly. I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit paranoid with that, but either way, what I would suggest you do is just triple check, quadruple check, just sit there checking the hell out of this thing until you are 100% certain. What I do when I've done this in the past, I have bought only maybe 3 or 4 things over max cash in my entire time of playing RuneScape. Every time I've done this, I screenshot the actual trade and I send it to someone who I've asked in the first place, hey, I'm about to go buy something over max cash. Can you just be around for a minute when I get the trade up? I'll screenshot you it, and then you can just check that I'm not being stupid as well, so that we both can confirm that that is the right amount of money, and that way you can be happy with it as well. You get to the second trade screen, you screenshot it, and then you send it to your friend. And it is worth noting, anybody who is not trying to scam you will be more than happy for you to say, hey, I don't do this often. When we get to the second trade screen, I am going to triple check and confirm this actual trade before we do. I hope you don't mind. I'll just be about 30 seconds. That's fine. And if someone is not okay with that, then you maybe need to be a little bit suspicious of that person, because why not? It's 30 seconds of their time. it's not a big deal. The people I did this with in the past, I remember buying my Staff of Armadyl exactly the same way. They literally sat in trade with me for like a minute to 2 minutes. They did not care. They were like, yeah man, take as long as you want. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And I appreciate that. Like, that was hella freaking nice of them to let me do that. I messaged a few people on Discord of it, like, just please be careful. Just please double check this. I don't want to screw this up. And we did it. We got through the trade. Everything was fine. Just be careful with doing this. Make sure you check it over and over again. And if someone is rushing you, go and find someone else, because there's clearly something a bit weird going on. Anyway, these are the 2 most common scams that I am hearing of lately. So if you are going to be trading anything above max cash, or if you are going to be around the Grand Exchange and people are asking you for buy limits, please keep them in mind. And if something does just quickly spark into your mind when this happens, it goes, oh wait, I just watched something on this, and then you don't get scammed from this, good, I'm glad. Like I said, I'm not saying don't help people with buy limits. By all means, just be careful with it and make sure you're not buying something stupid for like 500 mil and then they just disappear. And then triple check, like 900 times check your trades when you're selling stuff, man. Like just please check it. Please. Just check it. There's no reason not to. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. Hopefully it does help some of you guys out. Patrons and channel members, your names will have been on screen through the outro here. And for anyone interested, there is extra content that you guys haven't seen over on the Patreon if you want to join over there. Chuck $1 to support the channel while also getting some Patreon only content. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will catch you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.